Hello, everybody. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Georgianna.
And this is Wholehearted Loving, where we teach you simple tools to grow the muscles you need to be with big feelings and overwhelming sensations in your body.
Whether you have active challenges in your life or relationships, or whether you're just here to learn to be kinder to yourself, we pull out all the little things that make life feel better, the things that give you a sense of hope and direction.
So if you're too hard on yourself or on others,
if you want to feel real, deep connection in your life and relationships,
even if you want to reprogram your inner critic while you're sleeping,
this is a great place to be.
So welcome, and we hope this episode brings you just the tidbit you needed today.
Enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Today, we're going to be walking you through a practice that's going to help connect you with boundaries, needs, and wants. We're going to be finding our body. Yes, no, maybe, I don't know. And that's going to be our body connection to start. You can find self-reflection prompts for this episode and every episode on our Instagram at Wholehearted Loving. And you can learn more about us and how to practice with us live at wholeheartedloving.com. And let's get into the practice.
Let's get into the practice. So this is a practice that you could do sitting or standing. I say that we usually do the standing, but while we're recording, I'm going to do it sitting, and you can choose how you want to practice. Are you going to stand or sit, Steph?
Yeah, maybe I'll stand.
So there's slight variations for when you're standing versus sitting, but I'll do my best to describe them. So the first one is going to be, if you're standing, planting your feet about hip width apart. It's just a comfortable stance, and your feet are rooted and solid on the ground. If you're sitting, you are just feeling your butt on the seat and feeling a sturdiness there. Perhaps you want to notice your breath. And with the arms, we're going to sort of extend your arms outward with your palms facing up in a position that for you signifies you're saying yes to something. Like, yes, I like this. Yes, come to me. Right? And just take a moment to notice how that feels. How that feels in the body, how that feels in your arms, what happens on your face when you are really letting your body embody a yes. Yes, I like this. Yes, come to me. Yes, I want more. Okay. And then we'll shake that off. Unless it feels really good, you want to stay there, but you can. And then if you're standing, we're going to change up the feet a little bit. And with one foot a little bit in front of the other, creating a sturdy stance for yourself. And what you're going to do with your arms is to extend them forward in a position, a posture that says no, like an emphatic no. So this might be pushing your arms out with palms facing outward with strong arms, right? Or something that's saying no. So I'm watching Stephanie, and it's actually a push of the arms. It's not just holding the arms out, but it's a push. I see you leaning forward a little bit, right? So find what your no posture is, whether that's in a movement or in a still posture. No. You can play with it. Sometimes people find that no might feel really good or feel really uncomfortable. If you're finding that it's a little bit uncomfortable, a variation could be just a hand, like a stop sign hand, just a little bit in front of you, right? So you don't have to fully extend the arm. Another variation is one hand is on your body and the other hand pushes away or has palm outward, creating some space for you. This is your no. And let yourself take this time to discover what feels best for you as your no. You could also lean up against a wall or a sturdy door and feel that support behind you, and then practice using the arms. So I'm just watching Steph play around a little bit with how she wants to position her hands and how she's positioning her arms to give her that feeling that this is a no for me. So why I'm telling you this is to remind you there's no one right way. The way I want to show no in my body might not be yours. And this isn't necessarily like what you would show to someone if you were saying no to them. This is just how a no feels in your body in a way that feels good. Anything you want to say, Steph, about what you're noticing, or you want to save that for later? She's going to save it for later. Okay. Are you ready to move on to the maybe? Yes. Okay. Yes, she says with her arms fully extended and raised. Okay, great. So we can shake that off a little, move a little if you need to. And this is going to be our maybe, or I don't know. And you can start with this posture, but you can also change it, right? To be something that feels true for you, which is again, feet planted or butt planted on the seat. And you're going to hold your arms at about a 45-degree angle pointed downwards with your palms facing down. This is to signify, yeah, maybe, I don't really know. Or I don't know yet. And I see Steph doing the same thing that I did, which is turning one palm up and leaving one palm down and sort of playing around. So play with what maybe might be. So for me, a maybe could be actually my arms are pointed on a 45-degree angle downwards, but my palms are facing up. And for you, it might be something different. If I hold my palms actually sort of out towards my side, I hope you watch this episode because you get to see Stephanie be like a little robot. It's quite amusing. I'm actually holding my palms outward towards the left and the right corner. My elbows are by my body and my palms are facing up. And that sort of signifies maybe, and I don't know, for me. And when you're finished with that, you can shake it off, do whatever your body needs. Steph is just coming back to sitting.
Wow.
Yeah, so I want to put out a little disclaimer. So this is a practice we do with people one-on-one and in groups. So when we do it with, when we facilitate this, we tend to take a bunch of time to really let the body have time to get to know each posture, discover each posture, feel into the nuances of each one, notice what comes up with each one, which ones are easy to find, which ones feel vulnerable and a bit scary to be in. Right? But right now we're sort of giving you just a simplified version, a little Cole's note of give this a try and see what you discover. And Steph, you said you noticed a lot.
Yeah. This is something I've done many times over many years. And it's just neat. You can always just discover more and more. I noticed this time a real difference between action and feeling. So with the no, that pushing the hands forward and like asserting no outwardly is an action I might need to take sometimes. It feels too big for me. My no is a hands up, no. Everybody agrees. That's Steph's no. Nobody's mucking with it. But what felt more informative for me was what my body does. So if I'm comparing the yes, which like that is my yes, right? My arms are up. I'm like, oh, come here. Like, get in me. Like, come on in.
Yeah, come on in.
It's an obvious, it's like, yes, now, faster, come on, more. Whereas with the no, when something feels like a no to me, I don't feel that pushing away thing. I feel a receding. I feel a pulling back,
Yeah.
So like the difference between the action I might need to take to assert my no versus the quiet inner noticing of what is a no. That was neat.
Yes. So that's great. And also allowing yourself to recede and withdraw when you feel that something is a no is also really important and helpful.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Notice which things, when they're presented to you, bring on this feeling of I need to retreat, I need to withdraw, I need to recede. That's giving you some information.
Yeah. I also this time noticed with the maybe, the way the hands down at a 45-degree angle, there was a real difference that felt like uncertainty, which of course forms part of a maybe. But at some point I held the maybe like a ball of energy between my hands, and that felt more like agency with the maybe. Like, oh, I'm holding this thing I don't feel quite certain about. I need to like map its dimensions and like get more information kind of feeling.
Yes. Huh, that's neat. I think, I also didn't particularly love the palms pointed down 45-degree angle. You can definitely feel how it's different from the yes and the no. But the maybe, and maybe I was feeling the same thing, was when I held my arms to my side, and then my forearms and palms pointed to the left corner and the right corner of the room with palms facing up. I got that similar feeling of like, hey, I'm holding on to something. I don't know yet what I want to do with it. I don't know if it's a yes or no, but it's here. It's here. I'm with it. I'm okay being with it until it becomes clearer for me.
Huge.
So that felt nice, right? Of like, I'm okay with uncertainty. Like I'm holding uncertainty here. And it doesn't need to be a clear yes or a clear no yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a really great way to frame this whole shebang, right? We're looking for clarity or for an awareness that we don't have clarity and growing the muscles to be able to be with that. So if you're listening and you're like, okay, but I don't yet know my mind. I don't know how I feel. I don't know these sensations in my body. I want to introduce you to the concept of extremes. That's just my way. And obviousness, right? So you can practice this with, we made little lists, foods you like and don't like, things that are viscerally obvious to you that have no emotional charge, right? So is it a yes, no, I don't know, or maybe to, I want chocolate right now, or I prefer a carrot, easy things like that.
Yeah, so can we slow this piece down a little and just sort of use it as an example? Like, can you name a food and I'll just see what my body wants to do?
It's pizza.
Pizza.
Yes to pizza.
It's a yes to pizza. And the thing is, it's not an always yes to pizza. Sometimes I feel super bloated today and a pizza is not going to make me feel better. But today I'm like, pizza, yes.
Yeah.
And I noticed how fast that was. There was a moment of hesitation, and then I was like, I haven't had pizza in a while. I think my body would feel good with it today. Pizza.
Amazing. Okay. I'm going to give you a different one, and then I'm going to give you one with a twist.
Okay.
Okay, so it was a yes to pizza. What about a big slimy slug?
Yuck. No.
No. No, thank you.
No. So I noticed the no of like I push away with the palms, I turn away and lean back, and I do a yucky face.
A yucky face. Yeah. Okay. Reset.
Okay. It's like a game show. I like it.
It is. Okay, this time, the food for you is a beautifully plated, sautéed in fresh beurre slug.
That's an I don't know.
Oh.
It's initially I was like, butter? Okay, yes. Butter was yes. Slug was no. But I'm like, this sounds like a French delicacy. Could be good.
Could be a maybe.
So it's a maybe. It's a I don't know. I would need more information. I'd probably need to look at it, smell it, see who's cooking it. Is it some rando on the street, or is it like some, well-known chef that has, good reviews?
That's great. That's wonderful nuance. There's often things that we like parts of and don't like or don't know if we like other parts of.
And notice that, like, if I had been going out to a restaurant to eat, like right now, I really let myself feel which part was yes, feel which part was no, feel which part was I don't know yet. And I verbalize that to you. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah. But I also know there's been a time in my life where I wouldn't tell anybody that. I would tell them, oh, I don't know, you decide. Or, okay, I'd love that, when maybe I wouldn't love that at all, or I don't actually even know the answer. Right? Yeah. So I think it's really neat to take the time to like get clear on which elements are yes, no, and maybe, and then be able to talk it out and get in the practice of naming and voicing which parts are a yes, no, and maybe, or how much of it is yes. Is it 99% yes and 1% no? Like all these nuances that I get to know myself better, and I get to be comfortable with speaking up for what my truth and reality is in this moment.
Yes.
Instead of an old pattern that says I have to hide what's true, or I don't even give myself enough time to discover what feels good or doesn't feel good, or which parts feel good and which parts don't.
Totally. That's making me think of, there's often things that we think we like, and then we discover, oh, there's some variation that it turns out I don't like that thing if it includes X, Y, or Z, you know?
Yeah.
You might love a delicious slug prepared by Gordon Ramsay and not a Mac slug.
A mixed slug? I don't think I'd like a mixed slug, no.
Lots of people might, and it's important to know ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had some really good examples as we were talking about this episode.
Okay.
About people and places. I think one of the ones that you said was, do I want to be at a crowded beach or a secluded beach with two friends?
Yeah. Right? Or a crowded beach. Why don't we just do crowded beach? Like, I'll just present it to you, and what's your body answer that you notice? Crowded and loud. Yeah.
No, that's a no.
That's a no. Okay. Yeah. And for those people who aren't watching, how did your body what did your body do as a response to that option?
Physical recoil is a really good cue for me. I physically recoil, I make a ick face, and my hands come up.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Yeah. What about a secluded beach, either on your own or with two friends?
Yes. My head started nodding. I'm imagining it and it feels good. Yes, I would like that.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. This is similar vein. I'll just present to you a party full of strangers. Yeah, let's just go with party full of strangers. Ew, face. Yeah.
That's my face. That's a no face.
No face. Okay. And then what about home with friends? Home with a few friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. What's that? What's that feel? What's the difference in feel?
Oh, well, it's just the recoil versus a contented feeling. A contented paired with like, yes, come on over, but go home at a reasonable time.
Yeah. Okay, right. So what if I said friends at home at 2 a.m. who've been there since 5 p.m.?
Hell no. I love you. It is well past my bedtime. Usually.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The crowded beach would be fine if we were all either nonverbal or on a silent retreat together.
Oh, okay. So that would become all of a sudden a yes?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. But that's really specific because it's not just about the silence. Like, I don't think I'd enjoy a loud, crowded beach just because I couldn't hear it. Like, headphones or deafness wouldn't do the trick. It's
nuance. It's great. It's covering nuance. I don't know why I want to throw this one out here, but it's one that I asked my 15-year-old recently what he would say to this. What if you were dating someone who was nice to you in person, but not very nice to you when you're out in public?
Oh. I have a no and a confused feeling and a sadness feeling.
Yeah, that's good to notice. What part is it? It's a no to what?
It's a no to the meanness and the duplicity and the falseness.
Yes. So isn't that neat? So it's a no to several things. All of a sudden, like all I did was give you one statement and you got quite quickly clear on it's a no for this, a no for this, and a no for that.
Yeah.
And so right there in a few seconds, you could take that and articulate, these are things that I don't want in a relationship, which also tell you these are things I do want in a relationship.
Yes.
Neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's making me think of what kinds of things, like when I think back on old relationships where I made some kind of compromise that didn't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it was like, oh, they were really hot, or like, oh, the sex is amazing. Like, and something like you just suggested, oh, but they secretly talk about you horribly in public or private or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I couldn't weight those by degree of importance before, and I feel like I can now.
Right. And so being able to weight them by degree of importance is big, but also even before that, being able to separate them, name them as separate things, separate experiences, right? Because I remember being with someone where when we were together, it felt great. But when we were apart, like it would feel weird and complicated, and I wouldn't know, like, are we good? Are we not good? So my yes would be, when we're together, it feels so good. The no would be this confusion of every time we leave each other, for whether it's a day or 3 or a week, I have this feeling of like, I don't know where we stand. Like you're really aloof. The messages seem mixed. It's a no to that. That's a no for me.
Yeah.
But I, at that time, didn't know to break the components down, to feel into which parts are a yes, which parts are a no, which parts are I don't know yet, I don't have enough information, or I need to hang in that a little longer to get more clarity. Right? So even just being able to name, like if you're in relationship or connection with someone, to be able to name which parts of an experience with that person were a yes, no, and a I don't know, or a maybe, can be really helpful, especially if this person is committed and engaged with you to creating something healthy. When you can be that specific in your feedback, you can grow something really good together.
Totally. And to notice the nuance of your own feelings and needs is such a gift. I think I don't know if you've always been good at this or if it's in your nature or what, but something I've noticed that's a big difference between the two of us is I'll have a lot more black and white thinking, and then you have all of this magical nuance. And this has taken the form of, I used to notice that you would talk about exes and you'd have all these nice things to say about them. And I was like, what? I guess maybe I have some nice things also, but I've just categorized people as good or bad. You know, I'm like, you've done one thing that didn't make sense to me or didn't feel good. So let's write you off or pin all of my hopes and dreams on you, as the case may be. There was no room for nuance.
Yeah. And I think we we're both strong at one side and both had to grow the opposite muscle, right? I think I was very strong at feeling what the yeses were with people, what I like about people. And then I would let that overshadow or take the place of, or like be the only thing I focused on, and not really pay attention to what the no's and the maybes were. And I'd end up staying in relationships for way longer than I should have. Meaning like way longer than like past the time where they were no longer fulfilling. Right? Maybe not even very fulfilling to begin with, but because I only focused on the yes. So I had to practice looking at what are the no's in this connection and what are the maybes in this connection, and to see it and experience it as a whole, and to use all of that data to make my decisions instead of only using the yeses. Right? Whereas you might have been more inclined to see and feel the no's and forget about the yeses, or not look for the yeses. And I think what I love about looking for the yeses, when, like, let's just say dating and relationships, when there's a person where you're like, absolutely not, this is not a person I want to date or be with, but you're able to find the yeses, you're like, oh, those things though, I want those in the next person. Right? So like I've had relationships that were like almost but not quite. And we've talked about how important those relationships are. And a lot of people, when they meet someone, they don't know to see it through the lens of almost but not quite. They just think, oh, another failed relationship. I sucked at choosing again. I got duped again. Or like, they're such a horrible person. Like, how did this happen to me again? And I always like to look at it without minimizing someone's experience and their pain, of like, what information do you take away from that connection? What do you want more of in the next relationship? And what do you absolutely not want at all from having this connection. And this speaks to your ability to break down the different components and feel into each component of which thing feels like a yes. And also the difference between a yes and an emphatic yes. And like, that would be okay. That's a different kind of yes, right? And a no and an emphatic no, like deal breaker no. And not my preference. I hope it changes. Right? We're going to work on changing that because it stays like that. And that's an important category too in relationship, work, friendship, intimate relationship. What are you not okay with? So you need it to change over time, but you're willing to give the person time because you see they're committed to changing and they're working on it. Right? That's a very different category than yes to this or absolutely not.
Yeah. I think I used to have like 2 categories. So
Yep.
the yes was like, I feel attracted to you and you like me. Period. No nuance, no discernment. And from that magical starting point, it would just be accumulating no's until I'm a full no and goodbye. There was no subtlety. There was no noticing. There's no movement within it. When you're talking about moving like seaweed, I think that's kind of what we need to be doing when we're moving around in our story of changing relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like noticing also something that was an emphatic yes can change into a, I'm not sure anymore.
Yeah.
Right? I thought that I was excited to be in connection with someone who shows up this way, but I'm starting to question.
Yeah.
And then that you might question, you might be with it and you might realize, no, actually it is actually a yes. Yeah. Or you might give yourself a little bit of time to be in the I don't know and the discovery and realize, oh, actually it's a no. And like, I think that's also the importance of allowing and giving ourselves permission to be in the I don't know right now and not seeing I don't know as a bad thing. Like, I don't know and we shame ourselves, we end up feeling stuck. I don't know and I push myself to either choose it as a yes or a no immediately, we dysregulate ourselves. But the learning to be with the I'm not sure yet. And either I'm not sure yet and I'm willing to hang out and keep noticing, or I'm not sure yet and I'm not willing to hang out and keep noticing. That's allowed too.
Yeah.
Right. But I think being okay with the I don't know is a big skill to grow.
It is. Yeah. I have a technique that people might employ if they have little ones about. I noticed this when I was at Shay's this morning. Ray was bouncing around in her bouncy jumper thing and she wanted music, right? So she asked for music. She asked for a specific song and it came on and she was delighted. She's spinning around. She's having a great time. And then Dad puts on a different song and it's not the right song. So she's just like, no, Daddy, no. And then then a new song comes on. She loves it. She's a whirling dervish again. The energy's completely there. And then a song came on that I think must have been a no or a maybe, but she was less articulating things in that moment. So she just got kind of quiet. Right. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what that meant, but Dad looked at her and was like, oh, you don't like this? She's like, like this. It wasn't a big no. It was just this. So that energy, like, a wonderful thing to discover. We still have that inside and we've turned it into appropriate adult behavior instead of noticing the feelings and what it means for us. So feel that.
Yeah. So are you suggesting like using music as a way to discover yes, no, maybe, and the degree of yes and degree of no and like the flavor of the maybe?
Yeah, that and noticing babies and kids having yes, no, and maybe.
Kids, yes.
Right?
Like kids, before they're socially conditioned, are like, we can learn so much because I always say babies, unless there's a medical reason, they're born fully expressive with along the whole spectrum with no volume control. And so they show you with their face and their body language exactly how they feel, what they like, what they don't like. And it has a specific volume to it, paired with whether they like it or don't like it. Right? And
we still have that going on. Like our natural first responses will be to smile or to sneer, or to pull back, or like all of that's still happening, and it's totally noticeable, and you can work with it.
mm-hmm. This reminds me of a practice. It was because I wanted to learn to connect to my body more. So I practiced intuitive movement. And so what I would do when I worked in an office is I would shut my office door, had this practice every day, and I would put on a song. And a song usually lasts, 2 to 3 minutes or something like that. And I put on a song, and then for those 2 or 3 minutes, I would just move to the song, however my body wanted to move. And what was neat was often I would know in my head and in my body what kind of song I wanted, and I'd put it on. Some days I'd put it on and I just feel like exactly what Rhea noticed. It's a no. This is not the one. So often, like, I would want some flowy, soft kind of music. And then to be days I'm like, this isn't it. I think I need Britney.
Yeah.
And then I would put that on, one of her songs on, and I'm like, yes, this is the thing. And then there's been times I also have a habit of doing it in the shower. I choose a song for the shower. I put it on repeat in the morning. And like, so when I'm choosing the song, sometimes right away I know the kind of song, the vibe. And then other times I think I know, and then I put it on. I'm like, no, that's not it. And I go through like 2 or 3 other options until I find it's this. Right. But like, you might think like, how is that related to life? But it's so related to life. Your willingness to pause and take an extra minute to like scan 3 songs to see which one feels like the song of the moment, that matters, right? And that you recognize, ooh, this is what gives me that feeling and that this is the one, right? If you can do that with a song, you're going to be able to do that with a job, with the city you live in, with the house you choose, with, your people you date much more easily. But if you have no idea how your body reacts to any song and what your big yes is and your little yes is and your big no and your little no and your maybe, how do we expect that we're going to be able to make these big life decisions?
Right?
With ease.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Gigi.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Anything else you want to say?
Well, as you can see, there's so many scenarios to practice with, right? It can be anything. Like right now, I could just say, hey, the sky is blue and there's fluffy white clouds. What comes up for you, Steph? Yes, no, maybe.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah. Right? Like, what does your body want to do? Like, yes. Right?
Yeah.
And I'll say something else. I'm sitting in a room because it's not my usual spot. I'm traveling. It's got furniture in like the weirdest spots. There's like a vacuum, a printer, another vacuum, a computer monitor on the floor, 2 games on the bed over here. Is that a yes, no, or maybe for you right now, Steph?
That is a no, Gigi, no.
Right. And for me, this is it's a small yes. And it's a small yes because the alternative is the bedroom. And that's a no.
Right.
The alternative is downstairs with no windows. That's a bigger no. The alternative is the kitchen where people can walk in and out of. That's a for sure no.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, sometimes it's not going to be an emphatic yes, but within the it's okay. Like, oh, I could put a lamp here, which I did, and another lamp there that feels nice, and I can have my drink that I like, and I can have a few plants that I can see, and that makes it a little bit of a bigger yes.
Yeah.
And before, I wouldn't have paid attention to any of that. And I would have just bared it and been like, okay, it's fine. Right? And spent all afternoon sitting in a space that doesn't feel that good at all.
Unnecessary. Yeah, we've got more choice than we realize a lot of the time, and nuance within that choice.
I like that. So I think if some episodes ago you said something about unnecessary suffering or something like that. But it's a version of that, which is looking for unnecessary discomfort. Right?
I love that.
How much discomfort do we put ourselves through that's not necessary?
Right? We have to go.
We have to
It is
go.
5 minutes to 5, and we have a live call. So I want to leave people, I guess, noticing what feels good right in this moment. What could you do just with yourself right now that would feel like a yes? And like explore that.
I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to wiggle.
Oh, we do love a good wiggle.
And then
There's
when
a
we hang up,
TikTok
I'm
trend
going to
right
stand
now.
on my feet and wiggle.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks,
There's a
Gigi.
TikTok trend that does what?
Wiggling the depressions away, and lots of men are wiggling all over TikTok to feel better, and everybody
Good.
agrees that's
Wiggle
a good thing.
away.
Wiggle.
That's a yes for me.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week. As always, please do like, follow, and subscribe. And if anything we've said here today has been helpful for you, please share with somebody that you care about. We'll see you next time.